Hello and welcome back to CSC 120. In this lecture, we will talk about variables, operators, and expressions. So, a variable is, you might have heard of this term variable in algebra, right? Where you have equations, right? We have equations with letters in them. So, you'd say things like, let's say, y equals mx plus c. But each of these are, although these are letters, right? They actually contain numbers, right? So one way of thinking about this is these letters, they contain numbers. Or not contain, you might, the other way of thinking about this is they would be replaced by, will be replaced by numbers, right? Replaced by numbers. So right now, these y, m, x, c, these are like stand-ins, substitutes for actual numbers that you will replace them with, right? So these letters y, m, x, c, in algebra you call these variables, right? You call these variables, right? This y, m, x, c. If you understand this, you will intuitively understand what variables are in Python, because Python variables, although they're not the same thing, but they work in the same way. Okay, the use, or rather the application of variables in Python is exactly how you'd apply variables in algebra as well. Well, not exactly, but almost. Okay, so if you understand variables in algebra, you'd understand variables in Python. Okay. The second thing that we'll talk about is operators. Operators are things that you do with variables, operations that you can perform on variables, and the operators are the ones that help you perform that operation. So in this example, right, equal to is an operation, equal to is an operator, the plus is an operator. There is another operator here which is sort of hidden, which is the multiplication, right? Y equals m times x. So equal to, multiplication, plus, these are operators. Okay. Now operators help you manipulate variables, right? That's what operators are. So we learn about operators. One thing that we learn about in this module is the concept of a type. Okay. Variables store data. Data have type. Okay. And the operators will work differently based on the type of data that it is applied to. Okay. Each operator will work differently depending on what type of data it's trying to manipulate. Okay. Finally, the third thing that we'll talk about today is expressions. Okay. Expressions are essentially equations, but except the equal to sign. Okay, so an expression, so let's take the algebra example. Okay, y equals m times x. You know what, get it, y equals mx, just keep it simple. Y equals mx plus c. Okay, so this mx plus c is, in Python it's called an expression. Okay, so any combination of variables and operators. Okay, oh, a valid combination, actually, a valid combination of operators, of actually variables and operators that produce some value. Okay, that produce a value is called an expression. Okay, so in this example mxc, you know that mx and c would be replaced by some numbers, right? And then you can actually evaluate this expression. Okay, so you evaluate expressions. So once you evaluate the expression, it will yield some value, right? So an expression is a valid combination of variables and operators that produce a value. Okay,